boy Sid Linus, checking in once again. Right now we are doing the NFL Week 10 preview. We're going to preview the games coming up in Week 10. Now you know how we always do. We always do 2 shows a week. One is always the recap of the week that just passed, and then the next one is the preview of the one that's coming up. So this is the preview of Week 10. I know one game has already been played so far, which is the Raiders and the Broncos, and we'll get into everything about that game when we do the recap. But you know, we wanted to record this show on Thursdays like we normally do. The week didn't permit that, but we're still going to move forward. Now, before we go into the actual preview of the games and a couple of news stories, and we're also going to do my top 5 teams. Right now, the power rankings. Before we get into all of that, let you guys know that we record this episode on Fanbase, the app called Fanbase. If you go to your Apple store right now, your Google Play Store, there's an app called Fanbase. You can download that. You can join our camp, virtue.newsports, or you can follow Ced Linus at Ced Linus, CEDLINUS, and that way you will be able to get notifications every time we go live, and you can come right into our audio room and be a part of this episode every time that we record. Also, I want to say that this show is sponsored by Virtue.news. It's an online publication. Make sure you head over to Virtue.news to get all of your news needs, the updates, everything about what's going on in the world, especially the government shutdown right now. So head over to Virtue.news for all of your news needs. Now, let's get into this week's games. Now, like I said before, the Raiders and Broncos actually already played already. We know that the Broncos won 10-7. We're not going to get into the breakdown of that game because it's already been played, but we will talk about the ins and outs of the game and everything that happened when we actually do the Week 10 recap. So let's go ahead and head over into our second game, which is the New England Patriots versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this is a very, very, very good game, telling game of where both of these teams are at. Now we got the Buccaneers sitting at 6-2, and we got New England Patriots at 7-2. Now both of these teams kind of mirror each other in the NFC and AFC. Neither team has been picked to actually win either conference, but both teams only have 2 losses, and both teams are ahead of their divisions. And they look like they're going to make some deep playoff runs. But we're going to have a chance to see. I think whoever wins this game, we're going to start looking at them a little bit different and looking at them as serious contenders in each conference. Now, you got the Patriots where you have Drake May throwing for 2,285 yards, 189 of 255 attempts, 17 touchdown passes, only 4 interceptions. Definitely taking care of the ball. I think that's the biggest thing about Drake May, is that he's taking care of the ball. Stephon Diggs, 45 receptions for 2 touchdowns. Now you got Baker Mayfield, who is always in the MVP race and still in the MVP race, throwing for 1,919 yards, 172 for 269. 13 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. He's really taking care of the ball as well. And then I'm gonna say the notable player from them is Egbuka, 34 receptions, 5 touchdowns. That's a guy you should know, receiver. And don't forget they're missing. They're missing 2 of their best receivers, and so. I think if they were playing Evans and Mike Evans and Godwin, I think if they were playing, man, you probably would see Baker Mayfield definitely be the MVP. But let's go ahead and see what happens in this game. Like I said, with the winner of this game, we are going to look at them differently. We're going to look at them in a more serious manner. We're starting to get to that time of the year where all of the funny business and all of the weird business of teams just winning games on a limb, and teams are going to start buckling down, and we're really going to start seeing this NFL shape out. It's not going to be a bunch of teams bunched in the middle. You're going to see the elite teams, and you're going to see the teams that just are going to have to rebuild or looking towards rebuilding. And these two teams are going to be in the playoffs, but whether they are serious contenders or not is what we're going to be able to say in this game. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I just believe that Todd Bowles, who's the coach and the defensive guy over there at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he eats rookie quarterbacks and young quarterbacks up for lunch with all of his disguises. And I think he's going to make it a very tough game for Drake May. Now, if Drake May can get through this test, then maybe we start looking at him different as a bona fide quarterback in this league. All right, now let's go to the next game. Here we go again, Baltimore Ravens and the Minnesota Vikings. This is also another game where you have a couple of teams who mirror each other in the AFC and NFC. Now, the big question that we posed a couple weeks ago was, when Lamar comes back, can he lead off and get enough wins for the Ravens in order for them to get back into the playoff run? I thought that the hole was dug a little bit too big, and so I said no. My cousin Rodney, Helicopter Dad, who's usually on the show, he said yes. So these are another one of these games that the Ravens going to have to get, because what I also realized is that in that division, there's nobody running away with it. I mean, the Steelers have lost a few games, but if you look at the Baltimore Ravens, they're just 3-5. They're just a couple of games behind the Steelers. So if they can get this game, we'll be in 4-5. They're still alive, fighting to win that division. And I think that division is only going to have one team, come out of it. So this is a big game for the Ravens. Now, when you think about the Minnesota Vikings, they're still fighting as well in their division. They're 4-4, 500. And J.J. McCarthy is back. Carson Wentz is probably going to be done or done for the year. Yeah, I think he's done for the year because he actually had surgery. J.J. McCarthy played really well last week. They got a really good win last week against the Detroit Lions. And so the Vikings are riding high. And the Vikings, don't get it messed up. Don't think that the Vikings are not thinking that they're a playoff team and that, if J.J. McCarthy was healthy throughout the whole year, their record would be better. They're ready to play. They're ready to go to the playoffs. So both of these teams are teams that had injuries to their quarterbacks and are now fighting to win, whether it's their division or enough games. Now, I don't think the Vikings are going to win the division, but I think they're trying to put enough games together in order to be able to sneak into the playoffs. I do believe that the Ravens is trying to win that division and steal that division from the Steelers, and I think that's the only hope of them actually making the playoffs. But with all that being said, this is a must-win game for Baltimore and must-win game for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. I just think that Lamar, even though to me last week when they played against the Miami Dolphins, he didn't look quite as healthy as I would like him to look, I still believe that he is going to be able to get the job done. And maybe it's just me and just maybe I'm a little bit biased towards Lamar Jackson. That could be true. But I just think that he has the ability to win games on his own. And I also think that J.J. McCarthy cannot have games like he had the first game of the year. The first and second game of the year, because he didn't get going in the Chicago game until a little bit late. He has to be crisp the whole game in order for them to win this game. And the Baltimore Ravens defense is not even that sharp, so he has no reason not to look sharp in this game. So I'm going with Baltimore still, but I think it's going to be a very close game, maybe even come down to a field goal. The next game we're going to be looking at is this is a very big game. The Rams versus the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. Now, if you know anything about Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, they both work together out there in Washington. They come from the same Mike Shanahan family tree. These 49ers, we really had their number for a very long time in NFC West. They've been able to win some games against us as of late, but we really had their number. And we beat them earlier this year when nobody thought that we were going to beat them, because we had Mac Jones, we had Ricky Pearsall out, George Kittle was out. We had a lot of guys that were out. But we ended up beating them, and I would love nothing more than to beat them again, because I'm going to tell you what. In this NFC West, you got the Seattle Seahawks, who only lost 2 games. 49ers only lost 2 games. 49ers lost 3 games. Rams lost 2 games. I'm thinking that all 3 are going to get into the playoffs, but it's going to be a steep hill for whoever wins the division, and the other two teams. You want to get as many games at home when you start thinking about the playoffs as much as you can. I'm going with the 49ers. And I'm going with the 49ers because we're playing at home. Christian McCaffrey is leading us in receiving and yards as a running back. We are having trouble on the defensive end. But I think that these games now, these divisional games like this, it's just going to be about who has the most heart. We all know each other. We know everything that, you don't think that Kyle Shanahan knows everything that Sean McVay is going to do, and vice versa. They know everything they're going to do. It's just about the execution. Now, I do think that the Rams, with Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, they're executing at a very high level. 6-2. There's nothing really bad you can say about this team. But I think this is going to be another game where it's going to come down to a field goal. It's going to be a very mean game. And this is another game where we would love to have Fred Warner, but we don't have him. So the injuries could show us, the wear and tear in our team could rear its head in this game. But I do believe that the San Francisco 49ers will prevail in this game, and that will allow us to at least tie the Rams in the NFC West. Seattle Seahawks still has only 2 losses. Let's move over to the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the LA Chargers. Now, I wanted to say San Diego Chargers, but it's LA Chargers. Man, this is a tough game. This is a really tough game. These are 2 teams who really need they always need both teams always need a win, but both of these teams are teams that you still don't talk about enough when you're talking about who's coming out the AFC. Nobody is saying the Chargers and nobody is saying the Steelers. You hear about the Broncos, you hear about the Patriots, you hear about the Bills, you hear about the Chiefs. And you used to hear about the Baltimore Ravens. But nobody is saying the Steelers, nobody's saying the Chargers. And this is another game where that can really change based on the team that wins. Now, just a couple of numbers for you guys. Aaron Rodgers, 1,692 yards, 167 for 243, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Justin Herbert, 220 completions, 18 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 2,390 yards. Both of these teams are well coached. The one thing that I'm worried about in this game is that now you look at what the Steelers did last week to the Indianapolis Colts, and even though Daniel Jones still threw for over 300 yards, the Steelers were able to stop the run game. They were able to create turnovers. Daniel Jones had 5 turnovers. And you look at Justin Herbert, he already has 8 interceptions this year. I think the Steelers are going to get some interceptions, get some picks, get some strip sacks. I think they're going to cause a lot of harm to Justin Herbert. But I have always said, this is the type of game that Justin Herbert needs to win, because I feel like the NFL media has looked at him as very talented, and he is very talented. But we hold him up very high to a certain level, and he needs to be able to reach that level. He has not performed like a top 5 quarterback, even though we think he's a top 5 talent. And so, a big win versus the Chiefs was a really good win this year. But this is this is another game that they need to actually, that Justin Herbert needs to actually get, which is great. It would be great for him. I'm sorry, I got a phone call. This would be great for him and great for his status in the NFL. He can say, I'm a top 5 quarterback. I've arrived as a top 5 quarterback. And that this Chargers team is a real team, and they will be 7-3. That's a beautiful record. Great coaching from Jim Harbaugh. You know what I'm saying? It will really leave the Chargers in a great place. If the Pittsburgh Steelers win, with being 6-3 and getting wins against the Chargers, and then getting the win that they got last week against the Indianapolis Colts, I think a lot of teams will fear them come playoff time. And that's the Sunday night game. And then Monday night, we have a really big game with the Eagles going up against the Green Bay, going into Green Bay, Lambeau Field. Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts, 2 really great young quarterbacks in this league. Jalen Hurts, he's on our top 5 MVP list. 1,677 yards, 151 for 215, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception. And Jordan Love, 177 for 250, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2,071 yards. And who do I think is going to win this game? I'm just going to say that the Green Bay kind of disappoint. They're a disappointing team because they're kind of like Detroit. They get wins against teams, and you think they're on the road. You think they're about to win a bunch of games, and they finally figured it out, and then they'll come and lose a game that they have no business losing. And they lost a game against the Panthers. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on what Green Bay team shows up. And that's the difference between Philadelphia and Green Bay. Green Bay, it all depends on what type of Green Bay team you see. The Eagles are very steadfast. They win the Eagles' way. They run the ball. Their defense is supposed to keep the other offense in check, and they pass off of the run. And they don't turn the ball over. And Jalen Hurts is a great decision maker when it comes to whether to throw the ball, whether to throw it out of bounds, whether to run, whether to extend the play. And so this is what you got. And I think if the Eagles win this game, I think they are, even though they probably are right now, I think you would say they are the official front runners in the NFC. They'll be sitting at 7-2 with a big win against Green Bay. Their schedule has been pretty difficult, and they've still won. They had a little hiccup, which my brother says was based off of the narrative that they need to throw more. But once they got back to the Eagles' way of playing, they look really good. So, I'm going to go. I just trust Philly more. I just trust Philly to play their game more than I trust Green Bay Packers to be the team that can beat anybody. So I'm going with the Eagles on Monday night. Now, just to reset the room, we are recording this live on the Fanbase app. This show is sponsored by Virtue.News. Make sure that you join the camp, Virtue.News Sports. And make sure you follow @SaidLinus This is the Week 10 preview. Now, my top 5 power ranking teams. Number 5, we got the Patriots. Drake May has MVP type numbers, but he's not an MVP. But he has MVP type numbers. Mike Vrabel is doing a really great job with that team. They're really tough. And they have a big game coming up this week against the Buccaneers. And they sit atop that division because they beat the Bills. So I have the Patriots in at number 5. Number 4 are the Rams. Once again, they look really good, 6-2. Matthew Stafford is having an MVP type season. He's really utilizing his weapons. That offense is high powered. They got great coaching, and they're sitting atop the NFC West right now. So, which is the best division in the NFL right now. So, I'm going with the Rams. Number 3, the Colts. Now, the Colts took a little step back this week because of their loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Daniel Jones turned the ball over 5 times with interceptions and strip sacks and things of that nature. But I think they'll get it. They'll get ignited. They'll bounce back, and they'll still become one of the top teams in the league, or maintain being one of the top teams in the league. Jonathan Taylor, the running back, is the MVP of the league so far. He was held in check last week. I think they're going to be able to turn it around. I got the Colts at 3. I have the Eagles at number 2, and it's just the Eagles' way of winning. And I hate to keep saying it over and over again, but it's the Eagles' way of winning. That defense, run the ball and pass the ball, take care of the ball, and tush push. You know what I'm saying? That's what you get from the Eagles. They're a very, very, very hard team to beat because they don't make many mistakes. I have them at number 2. And number 1, I have the Buffalo Bills. And the reason why I have the Buffalo Bills at number 1 is because I thought the Chiefs were playing as good as any other team in the NFL. Probably playing better than any other team in the NFL. And the Bills beat them last week. Bills only have 2 losses. Josh Allen played great. Bills are sitting at number 1. Now let's get into a couple of news stories really quick. So one is a sad news story. We had Marshawn Kneeland pass away from the Dallas Cowboys at the age of 24. And the news kind of broke that came out that he actually died of a apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. It says, this is from ESPN Top Marcher. Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland, 24, died Thursday morning from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot, according to law authorities. The team put out a statement Thursday, but did not mention a cause of death. It is with extreme sadness that the Dallas Cowboys shared the Marshawn Kneeland tragically passed away this morning. Marshawn was a beloved teammate, a member of our organization. Our thoughts and prayers regarding Marshawn are with his girlfriend Catalina, and his family. The Cowboys have made counseling resources available to all players, coaches, and staff, and the players are on their bye week and are not scheduled to practice again until Monday. According to Frisco Police Department, responded to assist the Texas Department of Public Safety with locating a vehicle that evaded troopers during a pursuit that entered the city at approximately 10:30 p.m. Wednesday. DPS troopers found Kneeland's vehicle crash on southbound Dallas Parkway near Warren Parkway. According to the report, Kneeland fled the scene on foot, and officers searched the area with help from K9 and drone units. As authorities were looking for Kneeland, a dispatcher told officers that people who knew him had received a group text from Kneeland saying goodbye. They're concerned for his welfare. According to recordings from Broadcastify, which archives public safety radio feeds, approximately 3 hours later, Kneeland was found with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Kneeland's agent, Jonathan Persley, described his death as a pain I can hardly put into words. This is very tough to read and hear because apparently this young man was really going through something. And a lot of times we think because of some sort of level of success that people should be happy. Success is when you get what you want. You know what I'm saying? And he scored his first touchdown in the last game off of a blocked punt. So the guy had everything to live for, as far as we could see, as far as you could see from the outside, with playing in the NFL, being 24 years old, scoring your first touchdown, playing for the Dallas Cowboys, one of the most beloved franchises in all of sports. And still you have things like this that occurred with him taking his own life. You never know what's going on in a person's head, and you never know what they're going through, and sometimes they'll never let you know. But the most we can do is pray for one another, and the most we can do is ask questions and, talk to our fellow brothers, and just, just let them know if they need somebody to talk to, you are there for them. And not saying that this young man didn't have this, but I just wish the situation wasn't this, and that, maybe some of the things that he was going through, he would have been able to, release some of that in a very healthy way. So rest in peace to Marshawn Kneeland. And then the last story I want to talk about is Cam Ward, the number 1 pick in the draft, quarterback, is not having a good rookie campaign at all. He even said that his team was not good, but he used definitely different terms. Right now, he is thrown for 1,760 yards, which is 19th. And he has 5 passing touchdowns and 6 interceptions for a QBR of 24.3, which is 32nd. I think that's second to last. They need to figure out what they're doing. They need to get a win quick. You don't want young people like this losing their confidence. And I think Cam Ward is a tough guy. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback in this league. But sometimes when you get drafted high, you go to teams that are just not ready. But I think the Titans organization made the right pick by getting him over any other quarterback in the draft, because I feel like he could turn your team around sooner than later, and he's a guy you can actually build around. I always thought Shador was also a top quarterback in the draft, but I thought Shador was more of like a plug and play. Like, if you have great things going on in your team already and you just need a quarterback, you can throw Shador in there, because I always thought Shador was NFL ready. I thought he was always bred to be an NFL quarterback. Even when he was in college, I thought he was an NFL quarterback. But when you have nothing ready, you go get Cam Ward. And so it's going to take some time. Hopefully, I think the best thing that they can hope for or want out of this season with the Titans and Cam Ward is that Cam Ward grows, have some really good games to finish out the year, and they win some of these games to finish out the year to build on to next year. And I think that's and then you draft good, you maybe make some deals in the offseason for a couple players, and that will add to what he'll be able to do. Kind of reminds me of Cam Newton. Right at the moment that people were saying, oh, maybe the Panthers should move on from Cam Newton, he has the best year of his career, and the next year they go to he becomes the MVP and they go to the Super Bowl. So sometimes it takes players a while, and you have to work with them, especially if they were drafted that high. So don't lose hope on Cam Ward. He's a rookie. He's figuring everything out. Like I said, the most you want out of this season for the Titans and Cam Ward is to win some games late, and for Cam Ward to play some excellent football late to show his progression. And then I think they'll be fine for next year. But that's all I got for you this week. This is the Week 10 preview. Make sure y'all join the camp, Virtue.News camp, and then also check me out next week when we do the Week 10 recap. All right, peace.